In the dimly lit streets of the city, a chill permeated the air as Detective Sarah Collins gazed at the rain-slit pavement from her car window. The case that had been haunting her thoughts for weeks had taken an even darker turn. Emily Morrison, a young woman with a promising future, had disappeared without a trace. Her last known whereabouts were at the abandoned Hartfeld Manor, a dilapidated mansion notorious for its sinister history. Hartfeld Manor had been a place of whispered tales and chilling legends for generations. Stories of unexplainable occurrences, shadowy figures, and even a series of unsolved murders that stained its history. The locals avoided the place like a plague, believing it to be cursed. As Detective Collins entered the manor, its atmosphere clung to her like a heavy shroud. She navigated through decaying corridors, the dim light of her flashlight casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. Among the creaking floors and dust-covered furniture, Detective Collins discovered a collection of old journals, their pages filled with the musings of the manor's former inhabitants. Among them was the diary of Isabella Hartfeld, who lived there a century ago. Isabella's entries revealed a haunting tale of forbidden love, betrayal, and tragedy that had unfolded within the manor's walls. The chilling parallels between her story and Emily Morrison's disappearance sent shivers down Collins' spine. As Collins continued her investigation, the lines between past and present began to blur. Witnesses reported hearing faint whispers and seeing fleeting shadows within the manor. The town's historian, Dr. Samuel Carter, disclosed a shocking revelation. The manor's basement was rumored to hide a secret passage. Collins knew that venturing into the depths of the manor was her only chance to unravel the truth behind both Isabella's story and Emily's disappearance. With the weight of history pressing upon her, Detective Collins descended into the manor's hidden passageway. The air grew colder and the walls seemed to close in as she navigated through the twisting underground tunnels. Flickering candlelight guided her path, revealing eerie symbols etched into the stone walls. As she delved deeper, Collins found a chamber unlike any other, adorned with paintings that seemed to come to life and a sense of foreboding that gripped her heart. Within the chamber, Detective Collins uncovered an old phonograph, its machinery eerily intact. The scratchy voice of Isabella Hartfeld filled the room, recounting a tale of love, betrayal, and a curse that bound her to the manor. It was a tale of revenge sought from beyond the grave. Haunted by Isabella's story, Collins couldn't shake the feeling that the curse was now targeting Emily Morrison. As the phonograph's voice faded, Detective Collins' heart raced. The chilling tale of Isabella's curse resonated deeply with the present situation. The unexplained whispers, the shadows that seemed to move on their own, and the unsettling connection between Emily and the manor's history. Collins knew that time was of the essence, racing against both the curse and the ticking clock. She retraced Emily's steps leading up to her disappearance. Collins discovered that Emily had been researching the manor's history for an article before she vanished. Her notes spoke of hidden tunnels and symbols that were said to protect against the curse. Armed with this knowledge, Collins delved deeper into the manor's past, hoping to decipher the enigmatic symbols and unravel the curse's grip on Emily. As Collins explored further, she stumbled upon a hidden chamber adorned with symbols that mirrored those Isabella had mentioned. Among the symbols was a portrait of a man whose eyes seemed to follow her every move. The room's atmosphere grew stifling, and Collins could feel an unseen presence closing in. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her, trapping her within the chamber's claustrophobic embrace. Collins fought against rising panic as the symbols on the walls began to glow, casting an eerie light that danced across her skin. Whispers filled the air, Isabella's haunting voice mingling with Emily's cries for help. In the midst of the ethereal symphony, the portrait's eyes seemed to blaze with life. The room itself seemed to shift, the boundaries between past and present dissolving into a haunting cacophony. As the room spun with night-nourished intensity, Collins' determination surged. The words of both Isabella and Emily converged within her mind, guiding her understanding of the curse's mechanics. The symbols, she realized, were meant to imprison a vengeful spirit, to bind the malevolence within the walls. With a surge of adrenaline, she deciphered the last of the symbols, invoking a burst of light that shattered the curse's hold on the chamber. Collins emerged from the chamber, breathless and shaken. The whispers had ceased, the shadows had retreated, and the manor felt still, as if the curse had been exorcised from its very foundation. She couldn't help but wonder if Emily's presence had disturbed Isabella's restless spirit, awakening a need for vengeance. With the curse broken, Collins was determined to locate Emily and bring her back to safety. But she knew that confronting the truth would reveal more horrors than she could have ever imagined. The investigation intensified as Collins delved into Emily's recent activities. She discovered a journal where Emily documented her experiences in the manor. The entries spoke of eerie sensations, spectral apparitions, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Collins couldn't shake the feeling that Emily had become entwined in the manor's dark history, unable to escape its grasp. One entry in Emily's journal stood out. It mentioned a chilling encounter with a mysterious figure named Lucius, who claimed to know the secrets of the manor and offered her a way to break the curse. Collins knew that finding Lucius was crucial to uncovering the truth and finding Emily. The trail led Collins to a decrepit cabin at the edge of town. The cabin's interior was adorned with symbols similar to those in the manor. A feeling of foreboding settled over her as she realized that Lucius had a deep connection to the curse. Inside the cabin, Collins confronted Lucius, a man whose features seemed to shift and blur. His eyes held a knowing gleam as he spoke of a pact he had made with Isabella's spirit, a pact that offered him power and immortality in exchange for binding others to the curse. Lucius offered Collins a choice, to join him in his quest for power or to remain trapped in the manor's grasp like Isabella and Emily. Collins stood firm, her resolve unshaken by Lucius' unsettling proposition. She had seen the torment the curse had inflicted on Isabella and Emily, and she was determined to break the cycle of suffering. Lucius' presence only solidified her belief that his malevolent influence was the source of the town's horrors. As tension crackled in the air, Collins knew she had to devise a plan to confront Lucius and free both Emily and Isabella from his sinister grasp. Gathering her resources, Collins sought out Dr. Samuel Carter, the town's historian who had been researching the manor's history for years. As the manor's secrets had taken on a life of their own, Carter's expertise was invaluable. Together, they pieced together fragments of Isabella's story, Emily's journal entries, and the eerie symbols that held the curse at bay. Collaborating with a local medium, they aimed to bridge the gap between the living and the spirits trapped within the curse's confines. With the cabin as their base of operations, Collins, Carter, and the medium prepared for a dangerous ritual to confront Lucius and release Isabella and Emily from his grip. The cabin was filled with the scent of incense and the flickering glow of candles as the trio connected with the spirit realm. As the room grew colder, a presence manifested, the spectral figure of Isabella, her eyes filled with anguish and desperation. Emily's voice joined the chorus, their cries echoing through the cabin. In the midst of the ethereal convergence, Lucius materialized, his malevolent energy palpable. He taunted them, reveling in the agony he had inflicted upon the living and the dead. Collins confronted him, her voice unwavering as she revealed the truth, that his lust for power had chained him to a curse of his own making. As the spiritual battle raged on, the bonds of the curse began to unravel. The symbols that had held the spirits captive began to glow with an ethereal light, and Isabella and Emily's spectral forms wavered, a glimmer of hope in their eyes. Collins, Carter, and the medium channeled their collective energy, intensifying the light of the symbols. The cabin trembled as the curse's hold weakened further. Lucius fought back, a storm of shadows and whispers swirling around him. In a moment of sheer determination, Collins shattered the symbols, releasing a blinding surge of energy that enveloped the cabin. Lucius' cries of fury echoed as his presence disintegrated, his malevolence dissipating like mist. With Lucius banished, Isabella and Emily's spirits found solace. Their spectral forms became translucent, bathed in a soft, comforting light. A bittersweet smile graced Isabella's lips as she thanked Collins for breaking the curse that had tormented them for centuries. Emily's voice joined the farewell, a whisper of gratitude carried by the wind. As the light enveloped them, their forms dissolved into fragments of light, ascending into a radiant abyss. In the aftermath of the ordeal, Collins and Carter surveyed the now silent cabin. The atmosphere had shifted, the darkness replaced by an air of serenity. The curse that had plagued Cold Harbor for generations had been broken, its grip on the town finally released. But as the dust settled, Collins couldn't shake the lingering question. Had they truly banished the darkness? Or were there more secrets lurking beneath the surface, waiting to emerge? In the weeks that followed, Cold Harbor began to heal. The town's streets, once shrouded in shadows, were now bathed in sunlight. Emily's disappearance remained a somber memory, a reminder of the price paid for the town's salvation. Collins and Carter continued to research the town's history, determined to uncover any remaining secrets that might threaten to resurface. The echoes of the curse had faded, but their vigilance remained. As Collins delved deeper into her research, she stumbled upon a cryptic journal entry from Isabella's diary. The entry spoke of a forgotten ritual, a dark pact, and a looming presence that had haunted her dreams. The implications were chilling. The town's ordeal might not be over after all. As winter settled over Cold Harbor, Collins braced herself for a new chapter of darkness that seemed poised to emerge. A series of bizarre occurrences began to unfold in Cold Harbor once more. Unexplained whispers filled the air, and residents reported sightings of shadowy figures moving at the edge of their vision. The town's newfound peace was shattered, leaving Collins to confront a terrifying truth. The darkness that had plagued them was far from vanquished. With renewed determination, Collins set out to decipher the cryptic clues left behind by Isabella. She knew that the key to saving the town lay buried within the secrets of the past. Collins' investigation led her to a hidden chamber beneath the manor, a place untouched by time. There she uncovered a hidden altar adorned with symbols of malevolence. It was clear that the remnants of Lucius' influence still lingered, waiting for an opportunity to strike back. As Collins explored further, a cold wind blew through the chamber, extinguishing her flashlight. Darkness enveloped her, and a chilling whisper echoed in her ears. "You cannot escape what is destined." Suddenly, the shadows coalesced into a form, a spectral figure with piercing eyes that gleamed with malice. The figure revealed itself as Lucius' malevolent essence, a remnant of his dark influence that had clung to the town's very soul. Lucius' voice dripped with venom as he taunted Collins, revealing the truth behind Isabella's pact with him. Isabella had sought to avenge her own tragic fate, unwittingly sealing the town's doom in the process. Collins faced off against the malevolent apparition, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. She had vanquished Lucius once before, and she was determined to do so again. The chamber became a battleground between light and darkness, the air crackling with energy. With each strike of her flashlight, Collins forced back the shadows that sought to envelop her. But the battle was far from one-sided, as Lucius' power seemed to grow with every passing moment. As the battle reached its climax, Collins realized that defeating Lucius would require more than just brute force. Drawing from the lessons of Isabella's tragic tale, she hatched a daring plan. Utilizing the forgotten ritual and Isabella's connection to the curse, she sought to sever the link between Lucius and the town, thereby breaking his hold on Cold Harbor. Collins' determination burned like a beacon as she enacted the ritual, channeling Isabella's sacrifice and her own resolve. The chamber quaked as light and darkness collided, and the battle reached its crescendo. In a blinding burst of light, the malevolent presence that had haunted Cold Harbor for centuries was consumed by the forces of the ritual. The chamber trembled as the darkness retreated, leaving behind an aura of tranquility that had eluded the town for so long. Collins emerged from the chamber, physically and emotionally drained but triumphant. The curse that had once gripped Cold Harbor had been eradicated, and the town's future was no longer shackled by the horrors of its past. As spring dawned on Cold Harbor, residents began to rebuild their lives with a newfound sense of hope. Collins knew that the town's history would forever be etched with shadows, but those shadows would now serve as a reminder of the resilience and courage that had banished them. And so the echoes of darkness finally faded, replaced by the resilient spirit of a town that had faced its deepest fears and emerged stronger than ever before.